This is Straight Talk with it levitating Greg Fann, the preacher man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the preacher man.
Well, welcome today to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man, here in, I'm here. around the world with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shanan E. Jones. Well, Shanan, he probably drop in, he may not, I don't know what Shanan is doing. You know, Shanan is Shanan, and that's all I can say about Shanan. But I got a lot to say today. There's lots going on. There's a really lot going on. We got the election that's going on. We got so many more days before the election is going to be held. We got Cynthia has given you the early voting date. She's going to do a little bit more of that and when she gets to her section. But listen, voting is important, and we want you to be mindful of what's going on in this election, okay? And we're going to be talking about Governor Kemp's decision to support Donald Trump. And what's going on with that state election board changing rules that with Trump's appointees who have changed the rule to make voting more difficult and challenging for voters. Well, don't go nowhere. We'll be back on the other side. Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to make comments. And don't you forget to share. Listen, tune in each Sunday at 7 p.m. WIGO 1570 AM on your radio dial. Or you want to give comments, if you want to come on the program, hey, we'd love to have you. That's Straight Talk News 1362 at Gmail. That's gmail.com. And I'll be back on the other side with more Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast, or more or less. Hey, Bishop Greg. Hey, Pastor Shanan. Hope you all are doing well. Good seeing you again, of course. Listen, hey, everybody, I have some information that I want to share with you, okay? The Men Standing for Jesus, they're going to celebrate their anniversary September 15th, 10 a.m. at Liberty International Door Pope Ministries, 1362 Metropolitan Parkway in Southwest Atlanta. The guest speaker will be Pastor Ivan Stinson of Christian Fellowship International Church. The overseer there is our own Bishop Greg Fann. All right. Elder Charles Ransom, he's celebrating 21 years in radio and his 71st year of life. That's going to be September 27th and 28th, 7 p.m. at Christ Tabernacle Church, 2339 Brannan Road in Southeast Atlanta. The guest speaker will be Bishop Aaron Lackey Sr. on the 27th and Bishop Omar Zachary on the 28th. And listen, I have some information that I want to share with you about voting. You know, we're coming up to, the time that we've got to vote in the general election. So you got to be prepared. One way you prepare, you go and register. If you're not registered to vote, please do it now. You only have to October the 7th, and that's not that far away. So on October the 7th, that's the last day that you can register. Please, if you have anybody in your household, talk to them. Tell them why it's important to vote, okay? And let me tell you about some other important dates. September, I thought I had them here. I guess I don't. Let's go back over here. Okay, the first day of early voting is October the 15th, okay? And they're going to have mandatory Saturday voting on October the 19th and October the 26th. And the deadline to request your absentee ballot is October the 25th, okay? So those are just a couple of dates that I want you to be aware of. And if you would like for us to announce your event, please email it to me at straighttalknews1362 at gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362 at gmail.com. And listen, I also would like for you to, Greg gave me a lesson in what I'm supposed to say. And so, what the first thing I want you to do is to like us. The second thing I want you to do is to subscribe to us, and you'll see those little buttons on the front of your screen there. Number 3, I'd like for you to leave comments. Let us know how we're doing. We would love to hear from you. And number 4, please share Straight Talk News. Don't keep it to yourself. Let everybody know about Straight Talk News, because we're on the air. And we're going to see you next time. And I hope you have a wonderful time away. Bye.
Well, thank you, Miss C, for your news and information. Miss C always does a good job. Listen, she do a good job, right? All right, listen. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to listen attentively today. Listen attentively today to the video clips that I'm going to show you. And I'm going to tee it up by showing you first one thing. First, I'm going to show you there was a rally held, several rallies held, and press conference held to ask Governor Kemp to remove the members of the state election board for the rules that they have changed, is making it more difficult and challenging for voters in terms of not how they vote, but looking at how people can, the one person come and just say that, no, challenge your vote. They can challenge the votes that came from that precinct, which will hold up the election. If there's more than 1,500 votes or so, then they got to stay and count all the votes. I mean, it's just so many different rules that you need to be aware of. And please don't let them write on your ballot. Don't let them write on your thing. Please don't let them write on it. Okay. But there's a lot of nuances to this election. They're trying to do all that they can, because these are people who Donald Trump praised at his campaign rally here in Atlanta. And then as he praised them, he called their name. One of them was there at the rally, which we felt was unethical. They had a meeting without giving public notice that they were looking at rule changes, which it was unethical, because there's an Open Meetings Act that you have to have meetings and notify the public when you're doing that. And this is an appointed board that is appointed now by Republicans. And so they have the majority on the state board of elections. So it looks like they're trying to sway things to help Donald Trump to win this election in the state of Georgia, which we all know Georgia is crucial for the presidential election. Okay. So what we want to do is show you the clip where the state board has made these changes, and where members of the House and the Senate, Georgia House and Senate, along with faith leaders and community leaders, have asked him to look into this. Now, remind you, when you see this clip, you'll see something. I'm taking you somewhere here. You'll see what the news reporter says that happened when community groups, clergy, political leaders had asked Mr. Kemp to do this. I want you to see this, and I'll be back on the other side.
About whether he can remove members of the state's election board.
That's right. The board has changed composition and changed election rules in recent weeks with the backing of former President Donald Trump. Doug Richards with the 11 Alive political team joining us live from the Capitol now. So, Doug, what could this all mean?
Well, Kemp's request from the Attorney General for an opinion about the legality of removing 3 election board members means that, at the very least, Governor Kemp is giving some thought to this request. Republican Donald Trump turned some heads a few weeks ago when he effusively praised 3 new election board appointees at an Atlanta rally.
I don't know if you've heard, but the Georgia State Election Board is in a very positive way.
Since then, election board members Janice Johnston, Janelle King, and Rick Jeffries have led the board to impose new rules. In particular, the election board is making it easier to challenge election results, which is exactly what Donald Trump wanted to do in Georgia 4 years ago.
So we need the governor and Republican leadership to step up, to be the adults in the room, to call out these extremists and tell them what they are doing is wrong.
Now Governor Brian Kemp is saying he's seeking a legal opinion to see if he has the authority to remove members of the election board if he finds they've done something wrong. Kemp resisted Trump's effort to challenge Georgia's election in 2020, But Republicans have also enacted more restrictive voting laws since 2020, which the board is following, says one backer of the election board.
In truth, the rules are simply consistent with Georgia law. In fact, Georgia law is even stronger than what the rules that were passed said.
So one of those embattled election board members, Janelle King, sent us a statement today saying that she takes offense at the baseless accusations, she said, the intimidation, she called it, of those who appointed those members. And she said that her job on the election board is merely not to alter outcomes, but to ensure that every vote is counted accurately. We are live at the Capitol tonight.
Brian Kemp has also made headlines after publicly endorsing former President Trump last night. The governor declared his support for the former president during an appearance on Fox News. Trump then took to social media, thanking Kemp for his support. Fox 5's DJ Dukes is in studio with reaction on a relationship that's been hot and cold, it seems like. But
rocky.
The governor says he's going to put his name behind Trump.
That's right. And this truce comes just weeks after former President Trump lashed out at the governor and other top Georgia Republicans during a rally here in Atlanta. But now it appears both men are putting an end to their feud to ensure Georgia Republicans are united in their fight for the White House. Former President Donald Trump took to social media Thursday, ending his feud with Governor Brian Kemp after Kemp publicly endorsed the former president during an appearance on the Sean Hannity show.
We need to send Donald Trump back to the White House.
Trump posting to Truth Social later that night, "Thank you to Brian Kemp for all your support and help in Georgia, where a win is so important to the success of our party and, most importantly, our country. I look forward to working with you, your team, and all of my friends in Georgia to help make America great again."
Here in Georgia, Republicans seized a sigh of relief on Thursday when President Trump and Governor Kemp seemed to make up.
GOP strategist Brian Robinson says the reconciliation ensures the Republican Party is unified and committed to delivering the state for the former president.
That's going to be a very important partnership, not just for the Trump campaign, but for the Republican candidates down the ballot.
Brian Kemp doesn't need Donald Trump. Donald Trump needs Brian Kemp. And that's why you saw a sort of rearranging of the rhetoric.
Recent polls show Trump maintains his lead in Georgia, but Vice President Kamala Harris is gaining ground. Democratic strategist Theron Johnson calls the newfound truce political theater.
Trump knows that if he loses Georgia, that it's highly likely he will not win this campaign, which is why you see that he's putting a lot of resources into the state, and he's making up with a very popular governor who he's insulted.
Well, just as in 2020, Johnson and Robinson agree Georgia remains crucial to the chances of both presidential nominees to winning the election.
Yeah, I think they hit it on the nail.
Okay, now you've seen the clip. You saw what he said. You've seen the other clip in terms of the State Board of Election. You have heard what he said. Now you can surmise on your own what's really going on. What's really, really going on. Our country is in a turmoil, and our world is in a turmoil. And the things that we're seeing and the things that we're hearing and the things that people are doing, it is not in the best interest of God's people. If you really think about it, you look at the Bible and what the Bible talks about the Antichrist and how the Antichrist was going to be and how the Antichrist was going to turn people away from God, and the teachings of Jesus Christ, and a message of salvation, a message of repentance, a message of redemption. We see what's going on. We see what's going on. Don't walk around with your blinders on. The word is what the word is. It is what the word said, and the word does what the word does. Okay? So we were warned that these things shall come to pass. Solomon says that nothing new under the sun, nothing new under the sun. And we see all of these things that are happening before our very eyes. And well, like someone said, well, the attack on the Capitol on January 6th was not really an attack. It was tourists going through the Capitol and touring the Capitol. They weren't disruptive. They were not doing anything that was not detrimental to anybody. Well, the facts remain that people lost their lives. The Capitol was ramshacked. The Capitol that we pay taxes for, to be able to have that building there and to operate that building there. But they say, well, well, that didn't happen. It was nothing really happened that day. Yeah, but we saw people running through the Capitol, even elected officials who were there at the Capitol running through the Capitol. We know that Mr. Pence, who was the vice president at that time, they called upon him to be hung. I mean, we know these things, so we can't sit back and act like, well, maybe it did, maybe it did, maybe it did. No. When God showed you something, believe it. When God showed you something, you should believe it. Because why? He showed it to us for a reason. We're living in that time when men would believe lies versus believing the truth, right? Men would believe lies versus believing what is true. And I'll be back on the other side in just a minute. Don't you go nowhere. Well, my brothers and sisters, joining me via the telephone is Shanan E. Jones. He just showed up. I had to break to bring him on in. And, of course, Shanan is Shanan. And that's all I can say. He is Shanan. And he knows what's going on. He knows what the plot and the scheme is with the state election board. He knows what the plot and scheme is with John Trump. Now, after many, many months opposing Trump, now Kemp is now with Trump. He knows all about that. He knows about that what's going on. Don't you, Shannon? You know about that, don't you?
I know about it, man. I can't hardly keep up with this stuff now. Is Kemp with Trump this month or not?
Well, he like, Kemp reminds me of Ted Cruz. For some way, somehow, Trump has a way of whipping, to talk about him like a dog, and then whipping to be his supporter. I mean, really.
Yeah, it's called money. That's what he got. It's the donors that he controls that are afraid of him, and so nobody wants to mess up with. When they say the base, they're not talking about the voters. When they say the base, they're talking about the donors. That's the base and the electoral college.
Well, one of the things that they had said that Kemp is aspiring to be a U.S. Senator or in 2028 become the President of the United States. Well, if Trump has his way, he will never be the President of the United States. However, they had a meeting at Kellen Lefferts' house along with Lindsey Graham and Kemp to get Kemp to look at supporting. That's what's been reported, to say that he would go with Donald Trump. So you may be right about that. You may be right.
Yeah, I think I might be.
So listen, I know that a lot of stuff is going on, but I want to talk about some stuff that's a little bit non-political, and that's my team, the Steelers. I just want to talk about them, man.
No, we cannot talk about the Steelers because we are also on WIGO, and we don't want to talk about a bunch of criminals and their crimes and what they do. So, I mean, the name is Steelers. I know they put two E's there, but really it's EA Steelers, and we don't really want to get into that. Not on this air, and not on Straight Talk's air either.
Well, I can tell you this right now. It's going down. It's going down, son. It's going down. Yeah.
My goodness.
It's going down, man. The Mike Tomlin has done an outstanding job, and I understand that they're going to use Russell Wilson to be the starting quarterback. But it's a little iffy there for me. The time will tell. But I think sometimes. And Georgia Tech, man, wasn't it amazing about Georgia Tech winning that game from Florida?
Man, that was something else.
Wasn't it? They've been having a losing season all these years, and now they finally won one. God almighty. And with the higher ranked team. God almighty.
Yeah, and you see all the Big 12 fell apart, and 10 teams have left them. Now they're the Big 2. And I caught Deion's thing the other night, and it was, last night, and it was, the other night, and it was absolutely a game, man. And Hunter did a move. Oh my goodness, he caught a ball, and oh my goodness, I'm telling you, Colorado, they need to rename the state. They just need to call it Deion Sanders. they need to call the state of Deion Sanders.
All right.
Because he's taking that state by storm.
Taking it by storm. But that's a good thing, man. I'm glad to see that his son and is doing good, and they all are doing good up there. But what about your team, the University of Georgia?
Don't worry about it. The Lord is with us.
The Lord is with you. What does that mean in terms of your season?
We're gonna mount up with wings and falcons.
Oh, Lord have mercy. But those are Bulldogs. Georgia team is Bulldogs.
We're gonna run and not get weary. We're gonna walk and not faint.
You ain't gonna faint. You gonna walk and fail. I know you don't want to talk about the Falcons. I know you want to talk about the Falcons, the team that will build you up to let you down. I was in the store the other day. I went into the store, and it was a gentleman coming in the store behind me, and he just stopped and looked at me, right? I didn't pay him attention what kind of cap he had on. I had my Steeler cap on. And he said, he looked at me, he said, "Hey man, this is it right here." He pointed at the Falcons cap. I said, "Yeah, that's it right there. Throw it in the trash can." That's what he needed to go in the trash can. He just started laughing. I said, they build you up to let you down. They build you up to let you down, you dirty birds. That's right there. Dirty.
One thing, let me tell you something about the Falcons. They remind me of my grandmother's Chicago Cubs.
Wrigley Field.
She went on to glory before she could see them win the World Series. But you could not talk about the Cubs and Harry Carey, and she'd sit there and watch. She's a school teacher. She'd come home and take her work clothes off and get dinner ready, sit down, watch solitaire, and watch her Cubs. Oh, my Cubs. My Cubs. That's what she said. My Cubs, my Cubs, my Cubs.
Man, you know,
I feel like that about my Falcons.
You do.
My Falcons.
Okay, all right. Then. Well, I'm glad to know you feel that way about them. When I went to Chicago, I picked up a Cubs hat, right? And I brought it back to give to a Chicago native, right? And I said, I bought this hat for you, because you from Chicago, and you Cubs is your team. And I went to give him the hat. He said, "Don't give me that hat."
He was a White Sox fan.
Don't give me that
hat. I
hat.
had to grow up understanding the difference between the Chicago Cubs and Chicago White Sox, and the city is divided between that. My granddaddy was a White Sox fan. My grandmother was a Cubs fan. A house divided against itself can't stand.
Yeah, I can't stand. But they seem like they made it pretty good.
Yeah, they did. They made it.
Yeah, they got a lot of young ladies that's getting more interested in football and sports, with the fantasy thing, picking draft picks and stuff like that for the teams, right? So yeah, there's a lot of interest going on though. But hey, Shannon, even more so than that, let's talk a little bit about basketball, college basketball, even college basketball. Man, it's off the chain, man. It is off the chain. Since Caitlin Clark got there, man, it's off the chain.
It's off the chain. It's off the chain. I just want to say one more thing about the football before we go.
Sure.
On to that. There was a sister that worked with me once, and she said she just loved the football game. She loved football. And I asked questions. She always watched the games, go to games, and didn't know nothing about football. You don't know nothing about football. She said, "I know it's a bunch of men in tight pants." I said, "Well, that is ridiculous." I said, "The security guard downstairs wears tight pants. You don't say nothing to him. She think that's because he's big and fat." I said, "But he wears tight pants."
That's too much. That's too much. That's too much. Too much information. That's too much information. But listen, the women's basketball, did you see how many people are packing up those stands and how much those tickets are going for now?
Goodness gracious. Systems have changed the game forever. Sports has changed. You got this name, image, likeness stuff going on now. And so, sports is changing, period. From collegiate. And then we watched the name, image, likeness hit Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and hit others. And it's not that those sisters ain't been balling for years now. They've been balling, but we zeroed in on them because of that name, image, likeness, and it's opened up the entire league now, the WNBA, and now, everybody's watching the WNBA. Like my phone will ring. Are you watching the Liberty? Are you watching the Sky? Are you watching the Dream? And
are you watching Indiana? Are you watching Indiana?
You watching the Fever? Yeah, I mean, so I'm really excited about this because in my neighborhood, I grew up where girls could beat boys on the court.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they've been balling for years. I guess they say to the audience, where have we been? Because they've been doing some amazing stuff. Lisa Leslie and them for years. Lisa Leslie is probably a grandmother by now. You know what I mean?
Well, don't forget about Sharon Scoop, Sharon Scoop, and then Robin Roberts. I mean, all of them. Yeah. They've been balling for a long time.
And look at Dawn, South Carolina's coach, Dawn. You look at her and older woman, but played, played professionsionally, played collegiately. And Reggie Miller's sister, Cheryl Miller.
Cheryl Miller.
Unfortunately, I think Cheryl, there was no WNBA when Cheryl came, and because they would go to Europe and places like that and play over in Europe and Asia and all over the world that had that. America's just catching up with it because America's so misogynistic anyway.
Well, you know it. But listen, Shanan, I thank you for just sharing your thoughts about, what's going on with Trump and Kemp and that thing, and then talk a little bit about baseball and basketball and football. So we're going to be doing a lot of analysis of the games as we come up this year on Straight Talk. And a lot of things we'll be talking about. Everything won't be political. No, everything is going to be spiritual, and it's going to be about what's going on around the world. Look out for the Antichrist, because the Antichrist does not care about you, and he does not care about God. Well, until next week, this has been nothing but Straight Talk with yours truly, Great Fan Preacher Man and Shanan E. Jones. Don't forget to like us, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to make comments, and don't forget to share. Check us out each Sunday at 7 p.m. on WIGO 1570 on your AM dial. Or you can write us at Straight Talk News 1362@gmail.com. And Miss Waters will certainly put your information on, and we'd love for you to be on and talk sports with us, talk about what's going on around the world and your neighborhood. Until next week, this ain't been nothing but what, Shanan? Straight Talk. Thank you, my friend.
Straight Talk. Email Greg Fann at FANN922@Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.